was Obi that enter, I believe things will be better. The thing is affecting me.
Okay, so what do you think the government can do to stabilize the foreign exchange rate?
To be honest, I'm not seeing the government doing anything. Honestly,
So you don't think there's anything they can do?
honestly, there's nothing they can do.
So you want we should continue living this way?
Because there's nothing we can do. Because they are not even listening to us. I believe they have been watching how people are suffering. People find it difficult to feed. So to me, if they have something to do, they could have done it since. So I don't think the only prayer that we'll be praying that is let God help us to overcome this. Let's see how Tinubu will rule and finish. Then let us pray and see whether by God grace after 8 tenors, maybe after the 8 tenors, maybe God will help us with somebody that will have the feelings of his people because Tinubu doesn't have feelings for his people.
Okay. Thank you very much. So he said to wait to the end of the 8 years. So wait to the end of 8 tenures. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the exchange rate now, how has it affected you personally?
Yeah, it's affecting all commodity in the market. As you can see, the rate of which we are buying things in the market has gone high compared to before. And if you go to the market now, you see market women, they are suffering and they are not able to, they don't have the capacity to buy as much as they could due to the rate of dollar and some other things. So it is expected of the government to work on the exchange rate so that they'll be able to afford their commodity.
So how do you think the government can work on the exchange rate to stabilize it?
Meanwhile, I think they need to work with the CBN and to be able to see how they can fast track the rate and in terms of dollar, because I know that most of the things that we purchase in Nigeria is based on the capacity of dollar.
So do you know what the acronym CBN stands for?
CBN is Central Bank of Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the exchange rate right now, how has it affected you personally?
It has affected me in so many ways. Cost of living, transportation, and health wisely. So it has not been easy. Mostly this year, since the dollar increased, things are, in fact, I'm finding it difficult. Honestly, yes.
So what do you think the government and the regulators of the exchange rate, what do you think they could do to stabilize it?
I don't know, but they have to look for a way to help the poor masses because they are really suffering and they're making the use to go into things that will not help them tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you. So she said the poor masses are really suffering. So the government has to look for a way to stabilize this exchange rate so that we, the poor people, so that we can breathe, right? And she also said it's making the youth go into things that will help them tomorrow, going to crime rate. So the crime rate recently now is higher than it was before. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the exchange rate, how has it affected you personally?
Is much like now a pure water is 15
What I heard though, I bought
15 I bought 15 Once you ask what's the problem, they will say dollar is high, dollar is this, dollar is that. I beg, if they know what they will do for the dollar, I beg, may they do. Understand? Some people just they put that dollar for mind. They use and they intimidate people. You understand? So people cannot buy what they want to buy because the thing is very expensive. So even now, I paid like, let me say 500 from Onitsha to Asaba. They say dollar is high, this, that. So maybe they try to reduce the thing.
So what do you think government can do to reduce it?
Government should look into it. Because we poor masses, we know how we are struggling to make a living since the complaint is much. So they know what to do. They know what to do. Maybe they do the right thing at the right time. You understand? So that is what I can say. Yeah.
We are still on the streets of Asaba, and here we have with us another person. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the exchange rate right now, how has it affected you personally?
Personally, because of the high costs of commodities, high cost of living, everything is shooting up high. So it has affected the standard of living. Suffering has set in, and now people are struggling. Some of us that are doing some works, people will complain there is no money to come and give us patronage. So people start to manage themselves, to do service to themselves, to have clothes to do in the laundry because of the situation of
That's really yourself.
do it yourself. Then the laundryman begin to complain. So these things, it has made the naira to be less valued. When you have 10,000 naira now, it's like you don't have anything. It's just as if it's just went to the market to buy snacks and it's gone. But before, it used to be something that a whole family will use to survive.
So what do you think the government can do to stabilize?
Anything that will make the dollar rate to come down. For example, if the government can look into the matter, where did this thing start from? What is the cause? Because if you know the cause of a problem, you'll be able to proffer a solution to that very problem. What is the cause of this problem? Why is the exchange rate so high and working against us in this country? So these are the things to look into it. Let's see what is the cause. Let government investigate. Let professionals look into what is the root cause of this matter. Is it corruption on the side of government? Is it that the country doesn't have enough resources to help their citizens? Where is the problem? And I don't believe that there is no resources. There is resources. So there is corruption somewhere, in my own view. So let governments look into it and feel the pain of the masses. If they don't feel the pain of the masses, they will not do anything. But if they feel the pain of the masses, definitely there is a way out. They can offer a solution. Yes.
So he said to identify the roots of the problem, as when you identify the root of the problem, that's the only time you can offer solutions to the problem. We're still on the streets of Asaba. Let's go find more people to talk to. Good morning, ma.
Morning.
So basically, the dollar and the exchange rate, how has it affected you personally? How has it affected your food business?
It affects us also because this rice where we are buying now is so much money. The rice now is 60. Local rice now is 40 something, 50. Then baga we are buying now, baga is 1,000 something now.
Even the dollar self, they affect.
Even the dollar itself is affecting everything we are doing for this business. So if they can do anything possible.
But how about sales? Does it affect sales as well?
Yeah, it's affecting everything. Everything, it's affecting everything. So we are just managing ourselves for this food we are cooking now. There is no money, but we are managing ourselves for the rice, for the everything. Even tomatoes is costly now.
What do you think the government feed do?
If the government can help us, they can talk to the people that are there on seats so that they can reduce all these things for us, for we to survive. That's what we need. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So the exchange rate and dollar, how did they affect you?
We are affecting women's count very well because before there was a dollar is 150 naira. There was that dollar is 200. But now dollar is now 1,000 because everything before is very cheap. But now a bag of rice is now going to 70,000. A poor man cannot chop. You couldn't mean now, I am looking for food to do. Now, me, I want to buy a bit of food before. It's 300 naira. But I buy now, everything is expensive. I sell you a bit of food now, 700. But a diabetes, I sell you 3,000. In this chemical thing, it affected my own business too. I cannot see money to buy certificate material. Now, for you to demand it now 200 naira, but they are currently 100 naira because of the fuel charges and the dollar, everything don't go up. I did not know before December, I did not know how the fuel will look like because fuel, dollar, it affects human kind. But I don't think to you now that some people are very bitterly on this because of this money charges and dollar. We you that do people that are selling food, they will tell you their own view. I have my own view.
So what do you think the government can do to help?
Here the government empower everybody, going to street to look for good people that know doing handwork. Here they empower them. Two, here they go to do people that is doing handwork. Here they stay with them. They what they feel like. Here they I mean, I read the government will go on there. Call and tell me what do you feel like. I will tell them my own view. They will tell them because if person did not tell your own people, you will not know.
For the dollar, what do you think the government can do to stabilize the dollar?
Here the government handle the dollar. Here the government reduce the dollar down to 400 so that people will feel
400.
400. It's okay, or 400 or 300. It's okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Mama, good morning.
Morning.
Mama, so this dollar, this exchange rate, how it take the affect you personally?
Now you go this. This my brother. Now my brother. But he can't make everything. And I want to make carry everything down.
You say you fit do and make carry everything down.
People do and normal now. I say the people do and this people do and make it normal. Because now my brother, I no go say no be my brother. But I don't want to wait till it affect everybody, it affect himself. So they carry everything down.
Alright, Mama. So your business, how did it affect you?
If they affect me, say, what will they buy 1,000 naira now? Na 5,000 naira will they buy. Now it make me say the thing will vex me that because of my brother, now you did it. You understand? The thing they affect me.
So but the sales of the business, they move like they move before.
They know they move as they move before. Because they know say everything costs. People know they buy it. You understand? I want everything on down now. Every market will be move. Normal.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. We've heard from so many people on what they have to say. Some have said to identify the root of the problem as that's the only time we can offer solutions. Some have said to bring the dollar down. You don't know as they want to do and make sure and bring the dollar down. Some have said, it's only when the dollar goes to 400 naira, that's when things can be better. Some have said we should just even stop dealing with dollar self. Like dollar should not be affecting anything in Nigeria. Well, that brings us to the end of Street Talk, today's edition of Street Talk. And do well to stay with us as we bring you more exciting topics next time on Street Talk.
Street Talk this morning on Wednesday's edition of Morning Ride. Indeed, the exchange rate really affects a whole lot of things in the country. I would hope that sooner or later Nigeria would stand strong and be out of Africa when it comes to the price or the value of our currency.
Yeah, our residents or Nigerians may not understand the details when it comes to when we talk about the exchange rate, talk about unification of the exchange rate, strengthening of the naira. They may not understand the details, but they feel the effect of the exchange rate. When the dollar goes up, when naira weakens, they feel the effect because when you go to the market, you want to purchase anything, you feel it. So it's like you said, we should put our hands together. But I think it's the responsibility of the federal government really to look at ways and come up with solutions on how they can strengthen the naira, because we really need our naira to be strengthened. And like we've said countless times on this set, it is a factor of the economy.
All right, let's see the papers and see whether there are more things affecting the economy or affecting the state of our nation. We have several papers to look at this morning, from the Vanguard newspaper to the Punch newspaper, the New Telegraph. Lots of them, over 8 papers to look at this morning. We'll start first with the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper always has a thing about figures and statistics. Let's look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. First, the big headline here says, investors.
The Vanguard or
the Guardian, rather. The Guardian newspaper. Let's check the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper says, the big headline says, investors eye new listings as 10 players control 54% of Nigeria's forex. That's 63 trillion naira. We have more stories on the Guardian newspaper. Another one says, FCT's move to collect council revenue stirs protest. NDLEA arrests 18,500, seizes 2.6 million kilograms of drugs in 2024. Despite privatization, FD to spend 751.7 billion naira on wires, transformers, streetlights, others. Land Use Act, endless wait for property justice, equity for the 7 years on. I have more stories. Ibadan Stampede, court to rule on bail request of Oni's ex-wife, others, January 13. Finally, Tinubu Obi Hill garners democratic progress, pledge support, urge renewed African unity. Those are the stories making the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Now let's look at the Daily Times. The Daily Times has as major headline, Equities Market Index drops 0.24% as 152 billion naira wiped off market value. That's the major headline. At the top strip, we have more cars attack on Peter Obi, signals APC authorization governance, says Atiku. At the bottom strip, retrenched CBN staff ask court to award 30 billion naira compensation. Nigerian Navy rescues 8 police officers, a civilian, from capsized speedboat. Tax reform bills will not distract us from passing 2025 budget, says NAS. The rider says January to December budget cycle sacrosanct. Police dismisses 1 constable, demotes 4 officers over misconduct in Bauchi. And the last headline from the Daily Times says, recovery of government assets. LP tax Governor Motwang to include non-state actors as committee members.
All right, we look at our next paper. That's the New Telegraph newspaper. The big headline here says, Mahamat's inauguration, we shall lift our nation out of poverty, build resilient economies, coming from Table, and that's on page 2. At the top strip, we have man, Nigeria's debt moved from 87.38 trillion naira to 134.3 trillion naira without growth. Unemployment, over 500,000 apply for 3,927 customs jobs. And at the bottom strip, 18 Edo local government chairman remitted 12 billion naira to PDP leaders in 15 months. This coming from Okwebelo. Alleged cyber crimes. Police arrested 751 suspects, recovered 8.8 billion naira in 2024. And at the most bottom strip says loneliness linked to infection risk. That's a study. You can find that on page 27.
All right, let's look at the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard has its major headline, how lack of power, water, Japan degrades health sector. As on page 14, the writers, exodus shortage of healthcare workers persists. Healthcare system faces challenges in service delivery due to accountability issues. Lack of funds for healthcare remains big problem. Government ability to equip hospitals, buy essential medicines and supplies, run effective public health programs remain limited. At the top strip, over 7 million registered electricity customers yet to be metered, says NEC. That's on page 19. No state has excuse not to pay 70,000 naira minimum wage, says NECA. That's on page 5. Shocker. NFF announces sacked Malian coach for Super Eagles. That's on page 32. Tinubu approves allowances, bulletproof SUVs for retired generals. That's on page 9. At the bottom strip of the Vanguard newspaper, we have how corruption allegations led to suspension of LG chairman, says Okpebolo. That's on page 25. Gunmen abduct 46 in Zamfara community. That's on page 6. Obi, Atiku, Labour Party blasts APC. The rider, I didn't threaten your life. Stop telling lies. APC spokesman tells Obi. That's on page 23. Livestock development. Herders can't afford ranches, says Mietiala. That's on page 27. Tinubu at Mahama's inauguration. We will lift our people out of poverty. That's on page 9. Nigeria at moderate risk of human this one says Nigeria at moderate risk of human metapneumovirus, says NCDC. That's on page 9. And the photo speak is that of President Bola Tinubu and the former President Olusegun Obasanjo during the inauguration of Ghana's president.
All right. Our next paper this morning is the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper. The big headline, Bandits Influx. Task force meets as Amotekun police tighten southwest boundaries. The writer says Oyo security chiefs hold closed-door meeting in Ibadan, Ondo, Oshun. Others review strategies. At the top strip, we have threat to life, Atiku, LP carpets Tinubu, APC lampoons Obi. That's on page 2. Forex allocations for fuel import rise to $1.25 billion. Tax reform. Northern Elders governor maintain opposition as senators lobby. Forex. Food crisis likely as northern farmers opt for export. At the bottom strip, Tinubu calls for Africa's unity. Obasanjo, Zuma attend Mahama's inauguration. PDP differs as Okpebolo accuses LG chairs of 12 billion naira diversion. Romance scam. 2 US-based Nigerians face 40-year jail time. Finally, Stampede. Oni's ex-queen, others allege illegal detention. Oyo opposes bail.
Okay, now let's look at the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust has just a few headlines. The major one says, The Daily Trust. The major headline says, Borno attack. Many soldiers missing as death toll rises. That's the major headline on the Daily Trust. At the bottom strip, we have Abuja school bombing. Case of international interest, says police. Interesting. NFF appoints Malian as Super Eagles coach. That's on page 30. Atiku's men, El Rufai, Al Mustafa, others meet SDP leaders. That's on page 12. The last headline from the Daily Trust. Insurgency. Macron under attacks for saying Africa forgot to say thank you. That's on page 31 of the Daily Trust.
Okay. We'll look at the Nigerian Tribune now. We'll see some of the stories making the headlines here. On the Nigerian Tribune, Atiku knocks APC over alleged threat to Obi. That's on page 3. I didn't threaten Obi, Moka clarifies. Says LP presidential candidate has crossed the line of truth. At the top strip, Uni Abuja VC appointment crisis. Aggrieved Senate members protest, demand dissolution of governing council. ICPC takes El Rufai's aide to court after alleged money laundering. Oborewori not defected to APC. It's coming from the Delta State government. Military pensioners demand payment of outstanding arrears. Barricade Finance Ministry. Ibadan Stampede. Bail application of Naomi Oriyomi principal to be decided Monday. Police arrest 19 suspects over Owo cult clash. And we have stories at the bottom strip, rather a story at the bottom strip. Africa will lift itself out of poverty, build resilient economies. Coming from Tinubu, I'll take that again. Says Africa will lift itself out of poverty, build resilient economies. Coming from Tinubu, the writer says Nigeria, Ghana, bond can't be broken. That's on page 3. Those are the stories making the front page of Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Our last paper for review is the Daily Independent newspaper. The Daily Independent newspaper has its major headline, Tinubu asks African leaders to purge themselves of Western influence. The writers says he's confident Ghana's Mahama will work with Nigeria. Speaks glowingly about Ghana's poll that produced new presidents. At the top strip we have, apologize to Obi, Nigerians, over disgraceful language. Atiku tells APC. The writer, APC National Scribe denies threatening Peter Obi family. Okay. Suspended LG chairman remitted 12 billion naira to PDP leaders, Okpebolo alleges. At the bottom straight, Oborewori dismisses rumored defection plan to APC. That's on page 29. Still on page 29, police cybercrime unit recovers 8 billion naira, arrests 751 suspects. On page 7, we have these headlines. Navy rescues 8 policemen, civilian, from Bielsa boat mishap. Again, retired soldiers protest unpaid entitlements in Abuja. NFF appoints Eric
Ten Hag.
No.
Okay, on the Daily Independent newspaper.
Eric, the name now, Chel. Is it Chele or Chel?
Okay.
NFF appoints Eric as
Chel as head coach.
As head coach of Super Eagles. That's still on page 7. And then we have reps vow to apply stringent parameters in considering 2025 budget. And the last headline from the Daily Independent this morning, we will abide by court judgment affirming Ude. We will abide by court judgment affirming Ude Okoye as National Secretary, says PDP. That is on page 6 of the Daily Independent. And that's all for the Daily Independent.
All right, those are the stories making the front pages of the papers this morning. You go out there, pick these papers, or go online and see for yourself what these things are talking about. Very important to note that governors should be aware that they are not in charge of the judiciary. I'm talking about just the last story that you read now when you talked about a particular court case, and then the one of Ibadan Stampede. We have seen the governor of Ibadan making strong comments, insisting that justice must be served and people will be prosecuted. I don't think he has the right to make those comments. While he is the governor of the state, he is just the one who is the chief security officer of the state. But the court interprets the law, and it should allow the court to do its job without undue influence on his part.
And the police should be the ones even making comments, talking about investigation. Talking to us, telling us how investigations are going, giving us updates on what has happened and what will happen. Not the governor. It's beginning to look like this is a case of witch hunt. because Nigerians know the story. So if there's anything behind, or if there's anything that we're not seeing on the surface, and the police should be the ones telling us, oh, we've carried investigations, we discovered that this and this measures were not put in place, this is responsible for this and all of that, and not the governor.
I read the governor's statement. I had to really understand where he was faulting the organizers. Well, there was no part where he was just really expressing emotions, how there would be justice served to these people. I really hope that at the end of the day, the court does its job. And if you see that statue, it's blind and just carrying skills. It means that it's not emotional. It's not looking at anybody's face in Nigerian balance. What it's looking about is justice. Yes, the organization didn't go as planned. It went beyond the plans. Well, we have seen cases where someone organizes something for good and it turns out bad.
What do you mean go as planned? That's why I said the police should actually carry out an investigation. This is Nigeria, where sometimes we do things without knowing that there are laid down procedures, and then the people who are responsible for informing us that there are laid down procedures. It's just like when Nigerians came out to say during the #EndBadGovernance protest, Nigerians wanted to come out to protest, and then the police came out immediately to say, oh, we have to know the organizers of this protest. The organizers have to come to us to tell us measures have been put in place. And then the police came out to say, okay, the protesters should not protest past this restricted area, So the police would not tell us that they were not aware that such an event will be organized in a public place, not like she organized it in her house. It was a public place. So what did the police do? Were the organizers informed that these are the laid down procedures you should follow? Has that particular state at any point in time come out to say, if you want to organize such an event, this is what you should do, this is what you should do? Because these are the things that I was
going to come there when you were saying that, because when I said that, I don't know how we didn't go as planned. Basically, there is no law that I know of that says if you want to organize freebies, you have to come to the police. There has to be this particular
you have to provide these
procedures to follow. There's no law so far. So, maybe I might be wrong. Maybe someone might prove me wrong later on. But there is no law for now. So if someone organizes an event and people cluster the area trying to get food, according to reports and from some eyewitnesses and from the organizers, mothers threw their children past the fence of the compound just to be part of that particular show. That shows how much people were desperate to get things. Now, while the governor might be angry at how it went, and he has the right to feel sad about it, that's his state. Sentiments are understandable, but we're appealing that he should not use the sentiments to instruct the court or influence the court on what to do. While we understand his sentiments, the government should also understand the realities bedeviling the country. We've said it here on the program once upon a time that if you push time back to the early 90s and the rest of them, when the average family hear about a free show, they are hesitant to go. They believe that it's a free show, so it's going to be clustered, it's going to be crowded. Nobody wants to be part of it. But fast forward to now, I gathered grapevine story that a particular personality or some people were somewhere in Asaba dropping loads of money from the flyover, the Interbell flyover. And people were just jumping there to collect money, not caring who exactly was throwing this money. I also remembered back in the days when I was younger, and if we perceive that one might be fraudulent, no matter the amount of money you throw, we would not pick it. The truth is that poverty has a way of making us blur when it comes to understanding common sense and integrity. People begin to think about survival more than integrity, more than doing what is right, more than even having the sense of protecting themselves. Remember that when it comes to the way human beings adapt, one of the ways we adapt is to survive. Find a way. If we see that eating is more important than avoiding dying, we'll just get the food instead of eat. So I'm just appealing to the government, even the governor of Oyo State, to begin to look at the poverty level of people around, so that when things like this happen, people can hesitate, hold back from going to that place. At the same time, let the law take its course.
Let
the court decide.
And one question that we should be asking: Who is pushing for the prosecution of these persons? Is it the state government?
I think the state.
Is it the parents of those children?
I think the state is aggrieved, so the state can actually file a suit against the organizers, because the state is aggrieved. Those are people of the state, right? So the state is fighting. But while you fight, after you have taken them to court, calm down and let the court do what he has to do. Remember too that there's a way we carry this thing on, and people will be discouraged from doing good.
I'm telling you, people are already discouraged.
We need to have people do good.
People are already discouraged. Next,
good.
This year, I think people will be very, very careful if they want to, organize such things. I remember seeing a post from this particular we call him an influencer now, but he's is into this crypto issues. He wanted to organize such in his home. Remember, that stampede is not the only one that happened. We had lots of them happening in different parts of the country. And then Billard came out to say that he's no longer going to do the distribution of those bags of rice in his house, because he wouldn't want a situation where people come to his house and they will die. So he said he was going to drop it at a particular location. So people are already discouraged, and like we're just going to leave it at that and let the court do its job. Let justice be served. This morning on our papers, we had lots of very interesting headlines about politics. One that interests me is Peter will be coming out to say that APC spokesman has only threatened him and his family. Now Atiku is very vocal. Atiku, Labour Party blasts APC, and that's on the Vanguard on page 23. The writer says, "I didn't threaten your life. Stop telling lies." APC spokesman tells Obi. Well, if he did not threaten the life of Peter Obi and his family, he should come out and tell Nigerians exactly what he said. Because you see, one thing with our politicians is I think we are in a country where people are not held accountable. And so we've seen our politicians over time come out to just say words without even bothering about how their words affect the people they're saying they're talking to, or the citizens. We've seen the past President Muhammadu Buhari, call the youth lazy youths. Yeah. That particular word was not word, like a sentence was triggering, and for a long time, Nigerian youths did not forget it. I don't think Nigerian youths will forgive him for calling them lazy Nigerian youths. So our politicians need to be really careful with what they say and then how they say it, because your intentions may be different, but how you say things matters a lot.
Over the years, Peter Obi has been a very, should I say taciturn? I don't say taciturn. As things have unfolded, remember how he did not feel tempted to instigate the people against government after Tinubu was declared winner of the 2023 elections. Many of his followers were hoping that he would have made statements that would have instigated or incited them, but he was very cautious. And over the time, we've noticed that he's not quick to make statements that causes political tension. Rather, he focuses on economical issues and policies. So I don't want to pitch any tents to him. I somehow have noticed that has been his standard so far. It has also been obvious that over time that comments are being made from political actors who are trying to show how they support the incumbent president. Sometimes these comments are not from the president himself. People just try to look good for their bosses, that they make statements that are bad for their bosses at the end of the day. So we must be cautious. Sometimes little statements that carry no harm might be misconstrued, so we might want to watch what we say more than just say these things at anyone. Yes. Just giving a general advice. For Peter Obi, it's a good thing that he came out to speak out. Yeah. Speaking out has never been a wrong thing, especially if you feel threatened. And a man might feel threatened and be calm about it, but when he feels his family is threatened, he will speak, and speak so loudly. Nigerians are really watching.
Yes, and I think the APC administration should be open to criticism. We are in a democratic dispensation, so if we're practicing democracy, then the government should be willing to accept praises from the people and accept criticism from the people. Like Riley said, since 2023, what Peter Obi does is he looks at the country, he talks about economic issues. He's very objective in what he's saying. When you read whatever he posts on any social media platform or what he writes, you understand that he's addressing issues. But over time, we've seen the APC, once anybody comes out to say something, if Atiku speaks, they blast Atiku. If Peter Obi speaks, they blast Peter Obi. Just last week on this set, I read a particular headline when Peter Obi was talking about the president's speech. I think that was his New Year message to Nigerians, and he was just talking about how the president did not address some economic issues and how the president should come up with lasting solutions. And the APC came out to say that Peter Obi did not leave any meaningful achievements in Anambra State. And I'm like, how the issues are quite different. We're talking about now, we're talking about 2025, we're talking about the APC administration, and you're talking about what he did as a governor way back. So the APC administration, if you said it's not coming from the president, then he should call his men to order. You should call them and let them understand that there will be criticisms, and they should learn how to accept it and how to respond in a good way.
Or are we trying to shut down the opposition in a democratic system of government? Is that what we're trying to do as a country? Because it looks like in different states, matter of fact, when an opposition speaks, you begin to get different articles. Sometimes the articles don't even talk about the achievements. There are good articles that talk about the achievement and try to, clear the air, make sure that things are clear. There are other articles that come, and what it spends several paragraphs doing is blasting the one who criticized. And I don't understand that problem. If you are a news writer, and it's funny that many of these people who make this kind of publications or write-ups were former editors. You know that on the news, we'll never even pick all these things you're saying. We'll just pick out the facts and the issues and talk about them. So why spend a whole number of time writing against the person's personality than talking about the issue being brought forth? If the personality is bad, that should have been at the last paragraph, when you have finished talking about the issues, the major issues. And towards the end, you say, okay, why you're trying to make this correction? Look at yourself. Yes, you're attacking somebody for saying something.
It makes you guilty of what the person actually accused you of. So the APC administration should do better. The spokesman of the president should really, really do a better job. I don't see them really doing well. I don't see them actually protecting or managing the image of the president very well. They should learn to accept criticism. I remember there was a particular lady that said she was a supporter of Peter Obi, the Labour Party, during the general elections, and after the election she came out and said she is no longer a supporter of Peter Obi. Maybe she was disappointed in how Peter Obi, accepted, like you said, he didn't tell his followers to a particular person.
He didn't use any statement that would incite them.
Exactly.
To make them feel like he was aggrieved.
He didn't ask them to be violent.
They went to court.
So I think she was disappointed, and she said she doesn't think Peter Obi has what it takes to be the president.
People often argue that Kenneth Okonkwo, the Nollywood actor, turned politician and lawyer as well, part of the reason he was even angry and defecting from the party
was because Peter Obi did not have his calm and all that. So do you know what Peter Obi did? He actually went to the lady, went to her house, met with the lady, sat with her, discussed with her, gave her a listening ear, asked her to explain why she made those comments, and that's how it should be. Instead of attacking the person or going online to speak about the person, learn to embrace criticism, because it makes us better. If you don't want corrections, if you don't want criticism.
There are also things I'd have said, but let's not overflog the issue. But one thing that will flog here is that Oborowori has not said he is defected. Right Honorable Francis Sheriff Oborowori has not defected or has said that he's not defecting to the APC. The Delta State government has stated that. And the fact that he's had some handshakes with the president does not mean that he has presently made plans to move. Yes, that looks like it's concerning, knowing how a particular member of the rep defected. People are going to think that that's happening. But let's not focus on that. I think that even as a people, let's focus on the governance of a leader than their defection to parties. This is my personal opinion. While we might talk about he's not defecting or not, let's focus on the governance. Because over the years, politics has proven not to be about political parties in Nigeria. We should stop studying, foreign parties, like looking at the Republicans and the Democrats in the US. In Nigeria, parties are just a platform to get into power. What's most important is what the individual is doing at a point in time. So let's look at those things that he's doing. And if they are good enough, let's let him continue doing them. If he defects, he knows the consequences of his actions. Whatever he does, let it be for the good of Delta State. And that's what matters. But the Delta State government has refuted that. That's just to make clear that he's not defected, and the fact that he had a little handshake and conversations with the president does not mean that he's presently.
Is he not supposed to even be friends with the president in the first place?
Local government chairmen who are not from the same party rapport with the governor of the state. Because the most important thing is the electorate, the people.
Politicians don't really. It just sometimes when I see headlines like this, when I read reports like this, I just tell myself, these politicians don't know what they're there for. Our opposition don't even know what they ought to be doing. This is not how opposition parties in other developed countries how they carry themselves. They just here in Nigeria is just different. You're just looking for any chance to attack the ruling party. That's not the way it ought to be at all. You should be strategizing. You should be looking at what they're not doing right and planning ahead of the next election
to do better.
So you know what you know what you would tell the people. You know what grounds you can gain and what you can do better. It's just so sad that our political parties, all they do is listen to rumors, peddle rumors, and just look for ways to talk down on other political parties. They can do better, and I hope they do better.
I hope they do as well. On the Daily Trust newspaper, Borno attack, many soldiers missing as death toll rises. Now, over the years, we've heard about how insecurity has been handled. In fact, during October 1, the president talked about how 300 Boko Haram members were eliminated, not killed or something, eliminated. And we've heard about how we have defeated insecurity in the country, but it's still lingering, and we're still living under threat. Recently, Zamfara State had its own unfair share of bullying from terrorist groups, who are now referred to as bandits. They told the state, or they told some certain localities, the communities in that particular state, that they should pay over 200 million naira, or they would suffer. It's the boldness and the effrontery. For me, you come there and make that kind of statement, it's right there on major publications in the country, and somehow the man who made that comment, the particular terrorist group, not bandit group, that's what I call them, who made that comment, are not even being fished out. Rather, we're hearing, oh, we are wondering what's going to happen, how has the economy turned, we should go after these people, and we should not be having that conversation at this point in time. Insecurity should be left to the board, and we should not hear about Borno attack, this attack anymore. If we have strong soldiers, we should fight the battle. The challenge, though, is that we don't even know whose head we are cutting. It's clear that the bandits, we don't even know them. You get one today, you fight 10 more tomorrow. So we should begin to find how to cut the supplies of these bandits, and begin to find those who are financiers of these groups.
Exactly. And now we have soldiers missing. It's really sad because I don't know if we're moving forward when it comes to fighting terrorism in the country. Governors, the federal government, they need to really sit down with the security agencies, ask them what they need to do a better job, ask them what progress are they making, because how are these terrorists getting into these communities? You know, being able to pass message to the people, the residents of those communities, telling them to bring such amount of money, even though they will suffer. How do they move around these communities? How do they go into these communities, wreak havoc, and move out of those communities? These are the questions we need to ask. The police in those communities, the army in those communities, is it that they don't have enough personnel, they don't have enough equipment, they don't have what it takes to really, apprehend these people? Questions need to be asked.
And our security agencies must understand. I asked the question on radio and nobody gave me the answer.
Now that soldiers have listened, let's really see how the army would react to this, because
it's a serious one.
When they go into communities, they kill people, they abduct villagers, governors come out and give their condolences and all that. Now let's see what will happen.
A community in Delta State, I don't know why the name escaped my mind, where after soldiers were killed, that community was shut down.
Exactly.
Just in Delta
Opama
State.
community.
The Opama community was shut down just because some soldiers were killed. Not just because some soldiers were killed. And then I find that happen in Borno every now and then. That same anger should be invested in those areas. In fact, the effrontery of bandits to say that you should not do your farming thing in your community unless you pay us 200 million naira. Finding or placing taxes on different communities, you pay 15 million, you pay 10 million. They haven't checking out the integrity or the capacity of those localities. Okay, this particular village, we need 10 million from you, we need 15 million from you, 20 million from you. And the communities are, some people are already fleeing the community. Because I asked the question on radio, I said, if the police says do not be afraid, go about your lawful business, and the terrorist group says don't go about terrorist business, your daily business, who are you going to listen to? That's
people will be scared.
That's the question I've asked.
Police, because they don't trust the police to even protect them.
That is the failure of
We've seen that happen in the southeast, where Governor Soludo said,
go around on Monday.
Go around on Mondays, go do your businesses, and people come out and then
on the grapevine,
injured.
Even till now on the grapevine, on Mondays, people still get attacked on Mondays.
Exactly.
In a church, I heard a testimony from somebody who said they came at her and she escaped. It just gets funny that the government, security agencies will tell you, feel free to move, and then criminals, bandits, terrorists will tell you, do not move, and you have to listen to those bandits and the government. That is indeed over toppling of the government, and it has to stop, really. We say no to that, and we don't believe that should be the way that Nigeria should run as a country. We're a sovereign state. We must really rule our country inwardly.
Okay, let's look at this headline on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. It says, Tinubu approves allowances, bulletproof SUVs for retired generals.
It's good motivation.
It's
good motivation.
Generals, Francis.
It's good motivation.
Retired generals. Just for generals. There's also a particular headline that I'm looking for. That headline actually talked about servicemen. Yes, on page 7 of the Daily Independent, again, retired soldiers protest unpaid entitlements in Abuja.
Yes, that's why I said it's good motivation
For
to give the generals. What do you say you give them?
allowances, bulletproof
It's
SUVs.
good. It's good motivation. I think that's a very good thing to do.
Motivation for
pensioners should get motivation, but not just
this
at
is
the
not about pensioners.
not just at a particular level. Not just at a particular level. Not just for generals. And we've seen that happen in different quarters in the country. Ex-chief judges, ex-generals, ex-governors are still getting huge sums of money. I don't have a problem with that. We should not all crash because some people are crashing. But people don't deserve to suffer, while the rich only get richer. Now, it's true that some generals have even bemoaned that the monies they get after retirement is not good enough. At the same time, those who are even lower, those sergeants, those military men who retire afterwards and have nothing to go home with, those ones that go on the field every day, most of them are very fit, they know how to use the guns very well, are left to wallow with nothing. Don't give them bulletproof cars. Pay them their monies. Keep paying them their entitlements every now and then.
That's all we're
They just
asking.
make this go across board. While you're making that work for generals, I don't have a problem with that. I wouldn't say don't do unto them as you do unto
I
their
have a
younger
problem
ones.
with that, Francis.
I don't
If you
have a
have
problem
enough
with that.
money to pay generals allowances, get them SUV bulletproof SUV.
Maybe you should have
Do you
shared
know
that
how
money.
much?
Maybe you should have shared that money
Exactly.
downwards to
Do you know
your
how much
subordinates.
it takes to buy a bulletproof SUV for one general? And then you can't pay the entitlements of retired soldiers. I have a problem with that, Francis. Like you said, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. In Nigeria, even those generals, before they left office, they were well taken care of. They had those allowances. But the soldiers, the sergeants, the lieutenants, those are the lower ranks, they had a hard time really, fending for themselves and their families. So when they retire, the entitlements should be paid as and when due. They shouldn't wait. You shouldn't wait for soldiers, people that have served the country, to start protesting over the entitlements. Just the way we have retired civil servants always talking about how their pensions are being delayed, but then you see sitting top executives getting money, getting cars. We saw Wike approving over 10 billion naira for furnitures. It's really sad.
Well, when you said that generals are already taking huge sums, I had to just do it to check and realize that over $20,000 is what they get in medical allowances, retired generals. So it means that you're right.
Yes.
At the same time, what I'm trying to say, it's okay to handle.
You know how much
retirees.
governors get once they leave office?
It's okay to
There
take
is
care of-
money in the country. They should stop telling us they don't
It's
have
okay
money
to-
to
it's okay to
pay
handle
our
retirees.
entitlements and
But-
pensions. There is money in the country. They should look at paying the entitlements and the pensions with no excuse. Because
And
there is
you
money.
know what this means. Why I was even saying it's okay to pay retired generals and it's okay to pay people who are retired money, because this is motivation for workers. Most workers who are going close to retirement, they get either very dubious, very criminal, because they're trying to survive. They're trying to make money
Francis,
before
let me let you
before
make
they are
a
done with their retirement.
Yes.
Now, if you do not make sure that they don't feel that they are going to get good monies after retirement.
Are you talking about generals?
I'm
Or
talking
are
about
you
every single
How many
worker.
persons make it to that rank of being a general
every
before they
single
retire?
every single worker.
It's not motivation.
Every single worker, both the sergeants, both the captain, every single worker must have the belief, and this is not just about the military, even in civil service. Every single worker must be sure about how they are going to survive after service. Else you are creating criminals. Remember that most of these people are going to leave or retire when they are the most top position in service, and that makes them give them access to funds, access to things that concerns a particular establishment or that concerns a particular agency. If we're trying to fight corruption, people need to have social security, and that means that people should know that after their retirement, they're not going to suffer afterwards. If you treat generals this way, giving them over $20,000 of medical care annually, and now you're giving them even more bulletproof cars and the rest of them, then you should maybe cut off those costs and let the cost go round
Exactly my
to
point.
their subordinates.
That's the only way they will be.
And if you have so much money to give to them and you want to maintain that, then think about how their subordinates should have enough afterwards. Because if we need Nigeria to survive, we need to push away social insecurity. That's part of the reason people indulge in corrupt practices, because they need to have insurance or assurance after they're done with work. So that's enough said. Really want the Nigerian government to do better to make everybody feel the pulse of the current government of the country. It looks like they always do that for chief judges, anybody at top position, they do that. People often argue blessing that they do that to general so that there will be no military takeover. Don't worry, nobody's taking over Nigeria. The country understands very, very well. You don't have to settle the military so that they can keep aligning with democracy. If democracy is working, there will be no reason for that kind of threat.
True.
And the people will even fight the military from doing that. So let's just make democracy work in Nigeria than making the rich get richer in this blessed country. Okay, we'll look at more papers. We've looked at many of these stories. Tinubu is saying during Mahama's inauguration that we shall lift our nations, in plural, out of poverty, build resilient economies. That's what Tinubu is saying. Yeah. And the church says amen to that.
Amen.
But what are the realities of what you're doing? Now, you've made some policies and programs in Nigeria.
Can you even compare our Nigerian economy with that of Ghana?
No, you don't want to compare that. But the ECOWAS boss would speak like a boss indeed. A boss that has not made things work in his own little unit. And I'm talking about the entire department.
About working with another country to make things better.
It's correct. While you're talking about how we should work together, work first in your country. Nigeria should be the giant of Africa. And that's for a reason. But that's all on paper review this morning. We've looked at many of the papers. Go out there, grab a copy, do your own research and verify for yourself. And be sure that when you speak in truth and with integrity. Morning Right continues. When we come back, you'll find out absolutely more on the program. Stay with us.
Governor Sheriff, they give us more better things for Delta. Na truth oh, this Ugeli why they stay so. Governor Sheriff, they do roads. He not only they do roads so, they also they do drainages to make sure say the roads where we go they get for Delta, you know go poor. Me and you know say Governor Sheriff, they ready to give Deltas the best.
Yes, he talk now before he enter power.
As me and you they talk so, at the Grassa road on at the Grassa now, where you say they go they meet that girl.
Which one?
That girl will say she not go fit marry you.
Okay.
Governor Sheriff don't rehabilitate at the Grassa road. Yes so. It's just about 1 year where Governor Sheriff enter power, so he don't start and complete different projects. Some of them he rehabilitate them.
More agenda, of course.
Yes, so.
You see, this thing when Oga Peter they talk so. Not truth. Just about 1 year in office, Governor Sheriff don't complete different projects, and he still they do more. As I dey road they travel the other day, I see and say Governor Sheriff they do rehabilitation for High Expressway, a 3-kilometer road.
Now, not be only that one. Recently, when I travel, go see my friend for Warri South, I go see am say Governor Sheriff, he don do rehabilitation, overlay of Ejegba community main road, down to the roundabout.
Now that why you dey talk, me I just dey come from Oriso. When I hear say Governor Sheriff they do flyover and say na Julius Berger, I say make I go see with my eyes. Seeing is believing. I reach there, I saw they look. I see and say Governor Sharif dey construct flyover from PTI Junction to DSA roundabout. I say na wow, Governor Sharif just start. He go start with legacy project so. And e dey in progress so, even as we dey talk so.
More agenda. Governor Sharif transforming Delta.
This village wey we dey so this road na Wapa village. We thank our governor, Governor Sharif, wey make the road better for us so we fit dey pass the road well now.
Brought to you by Delta State Ministry of Information.
Governor Sharif, they give us more better things for Delta.
Women in the Nigerian society, or in the world as a matter of fact, are very powerful figures. Over the years, some of them have been relegated, others elevated, some others subjugated. However, they continue to thrive. They continue to show their worth, and they continue to show their essence in every society, blossoming, as the case may be. Some of them have shown their strength when it comes to integrity of leadership. Well, this morning with us seated here is a woman who has done so much in leadership and would help us talk about leadership as it concerns women. Because our topic for this morning is women in politics, appointment and expectations. If we want Nigeria to work, maybe we should start trying the angels we know, that the devils who have been running the country ever since. Women with us is one-time personal assistant to the executive chairman, Oshimuli South, one-time personal assistant to the PDP South Women Leader, member Electoral Committee, PDP National Convention 2021, two-time legislator of Oshimili North Local Government Area. She is immediate past chairperson, International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria Delta State, member Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, member Nigerian Bar Association. She is the very wonderful, Honorable Dr. Stella Maris Mejulu. She is member Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators. It's good to have you this morning on Wednesday's morning, right?
Good morning, my
morning
brother. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year
and
to
Happy
you.
New Year to my fellow Deltans.
Yes.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning. Good to be here.
I just want to let you know that the lady seated close to you, Blessing Usiagbada, has been nicknamed on the show Woman Leader.
Oh, beautiful.
So I might be very quiet while this session continues. So she takes it personally with you. Because when it comes to leadership and women in politics, she loves to talk about that. She has a very strong passion that women would make great leaders, and she's also one who's trying to grow. So you might want to mentor her.
You already see that the topic for today, women are already brazen. You have one in the house, but not to freight. We'll carry you along.
You carry her along too.
Yeah, yes, she's already with me.
I mean, after the show, both of you can go together, or go to work together and talk.
I will be happy to have her as my mentee.
Now, talking about that, let's talk about straight up to business. Women mentoring women in politics. Over the years, it looks like men, we have mentored each other. In fact, if you ask me why we stand this strong, it's because men have mentored men. Let me give you a clear instance in Delta State. 1999, Chief James Ononefe Ibori. He had people who was mentoring. One of them, people say it was his cousin, it was his family member, but he took over power after Ibori was done. Talking about the one-time governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Odwanga. And look, that looked like that was happening. There was another person that Ibori was mentoring as well, who was also one-time secretary to the state government and commissioner for health of the state, just like Odwanga was. Talking about Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, he took it over and he did well in Delta State. Fast forward afterwards, a man who had a good relationship with the governor and he was part of the lawmaking chambers of the state, became the governor. He was also part of the PDP. It looks like men have mentored men so far, and women have only mentored women in the Ministry of Women Affairs.
because that is where you chose to give women.
Do women mentor women?
Oh, of course. The person sitting down here before you this morning and before Deltans was mentored in politics by women. And they are still living. And I'm proud to say it anyway. 2 women, as a matter of fact, were my mentors, great mentors. And they are still alive. You heard from, you saw from my CV, I was one time personal assistant to the Oshimili South chairman. I was also personal assistant to the same woman when she became PDP woman leader, South. We had 6 states of the South where she was the woman leader of the great party, PDP. So, and I was also from the council. If she didn't see something in me, she would move me to South. And then so I became her PA for South, and we toured the 6 states where we also, mentored women and tried to carry women along in politics. And then back to Delta, when we were done with that, this same woman I'm talking to you was one time commissioner for women affairs in this state, So, and then she became council chairman, and then that's when I met her. I actually met her in law school, and then she saw me and said, "Oh, wonderful, beautiful lady. I think you're going to be my PA." So from law school, I started having that title of PA. And then when we returned here, I was in Lagos when I went to law school. But this woman brought me back to Delta State. And that's how my journey in politics in Delta State started, even though I'm from Delta. But I was living in Lagos. And then she brought me from law school, and I became her PA. And then from there, the journey started. And then after that, I came back again to Delta, and my beloved mother, sister, and, confidant, who is the sitting Commissioner for Women Affairs today, Honorable Dr. Princess Pat Ajuda, the woman I'm always very pleased, in whom I'm well pleased. She has taken up the mentorship qualities, and she took me up again as a mentee. And today, the boldness, the resilience, and everything people could describe me with and say that is who I am, that woman is my mentor.
Good. I'm so glad you've been able to tell Francis what he needs.
I know I'm doing on the show.
Because you kept talking about men that have mentored, and now you've heard, at least from now you can say Honorable Pat Ajudwa has mentored someone.
And so many others. So many others. But the truth is, we are talking about governors. Yes. How many of you have allowed us to be governors and see what we can do?
Well, I was going to come there too, because this interview, it looks like it's me against them.
Don't worry, I told you, don't fret. We'll carry that along.
I want to put
Just put the perspective, as it is.
Because I'm going to be as thorough as possible, because I want women to get into politics. So I might look like a devil today, but I hope that after this interview, it will be angelic what happens to women afterward.
If you guys are ready to give us that.
You say this thing. Well, they say power is not given, it is taken.
Mm-hmm.
Are women taking power in Delta State?
That is semantics as far as I'm concerned. Power is taken. We want to take the power. How many men are willing to relinquish this power? Except for women, and that's why I advise my sisters, except for women who are dogged, resilient, and you know what you carry. The first thing is knowing who you are and what you carry. Because you will get gridlocks. I got gridlocks. But I believed that I had a focus. I had, where I was going to. And that was my watchword. And then also believing that God is with me. Okay. I have gotten to where I am today because I was, resilient, and I was dogged in my resolution. What I have decided to be, even as a lawyer, I want to be a legislator, and that I kept that focus, and also being loyal to my leaders.
Right. Okay. Yes, I am in support of women all the time, but let's speak the truth. Do you think women are as united as the men? Because when it comes to politics, you see men that are loyal. They have their godfathers. They are more united. They mobilize themselves. They come together. But do you think women, Nigerian women, are that united as men are? If you look at the statistics, we have more women than men. And then when it comes for elections, more women come out to cast their votes than most men.
Even campaigning. So
if we have that power, if we have the power of our numbers, why then is it difficult for women to take power? Like Francis said, sometimes you don't wait for power to be given to you. You have to take power. Why then is it that when we have a woman who is contesting for governorship, a woman who is contesting for a particular position, women don't rally around that woman and give her their vote? We've seen cases where women don't vote for their own women in Nigeria. So do you think we're really united?
Yes.
And we've mobilized ourselves enough?
Yes, we are. We are. And we're still speaking. But I tell you one great force that the men are using against us. Money. Finance. The women you're saying are not coming out to rally around their own. The women, when it's time for the nitty-gritty, the men have the dollars to spend. The men have all the nairas to spend in thousands, in millions, and all of that. How much does that woman have? A woman that is probably, yes, she's married and all of that. And then how much is her husband giving her? How much job does she even have?
Would the husband even support?
Thank you, my lovely sister. Would the husband even support? The first mentality is, all those in a night meeting, when they go do that, when they go do there. I must be wrong and straight as it is. So it is the power of finance. When the men are doling the dollars, for instance, when you talk about delegates to the election, it's about the power of the candidates on the delegates. How much you are able to dole out to the delegates. That's how you win them. So when your opponent as a woman, your opponent that is the man, is doling out dollars, and you don't even have the thousands enough to share, people, the electorate are not even looking at what you carry. It is the power of money that they are looking at. Or they'll benefit. That's why I tell them that most times they complain politicians lock their door against them. Why would they not lock their doors against you? When they were campaigning, you were busy muscling out all the cash from them, all the dollars. So they paid you pension and gratuity, as far as I'm concerned. So most people, it just takes a few. When they get into the office, they begin to remember, oh, these are my constituency. I need to take care of them. Some people will say, after all, when I was campaigning, these people milked me dry. Some men go into borrowing because they want to get into politics. They want to win their opponent. And so when they enter the office, they first start paying the bills, those loans. And when they are doing that, for your sake, you made them get those loans. How would they come back to easily smile at you and want to give you back the money? So the first thing for me is that money issue.
Okay. Now, we've mentioned that. I want you to speak to men who might come at you. Maybe Jimmy, I'm not coming at you though. They mentioned names like Sadia Umar. They mentioned names like Alison Madwe-Quay. They mentioned several names of women who have gotten into power, and somehow they had to power their pockets with serious money. There was one, I'm trying to remember her name. I don't know why her name has skipped my mind. she took over from Sadiya Umar.
You won't remember it because you people are always looking out for the ones that did that. In every family, there is a Judas. So it is not, you are now counting those ones who have failed.
Yes.
The ones who have made you proud. The likes of Okonjo-Iweala and Ngozi, my sister, a Delta, making us proud all over the world. Nobody is talking about her. Obi Ezekwesili. Nobody is making her. No, nobody is talking about her. Dora Akunyili, your blessed memory. She died trying to save Nigeria, trying to make Nigeria better. Nobody talks about these people. You are ready to talk about better I do. You are ready to talk about. Yes, let me help you. Let me help you. You are ready to talk about those ones. Talk about the ones that have made you proud. You people rejected Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala in Nigeria. She was not a good finance minister. She doesn't know what she's doing. You dropped her. The world picked her.
Now she's a two-time.
And Nigerians are clapping. But you abandoned her in your home. In her very place.
Let me actually be very objective as I can be, because I know Francis.
Don't worry, you're supposed to team up.
Don't let him intimidate you. I'm here.
Okay. Now you mentioned finance as one of the obstacles or challenges that women go through when they come out to contest. What about our cultural perspective? How does that hinder women from participating in politics? This is 2025. Does that still affect women in Nigeria?
I was only trying to be time conscious because this topic we are talking about won't end if we continue. Yes, when you talk about the cultural norms, perspective, yes, I don't want to mention them. Let me hide them with that. There is a community in Delta here where they don't see women as something. They just see you are not to be heard. So the few women who are doing well in politics in that community, you need to see the way the men hate them with passion. Because it's from them I got the slogan, woman with a piece from back. And what's that? So for a lot of women who may not have that guts, and they try to show their face or bring out their head, they use all those discriminatory and derogatory words and hit them down. Their husbands are not supporting the husband's family. Even when the husband wants to support, his brothers may tell them, oh, you won't come loan your wife now share what they do for politics. And then the man comes home and tells the wife, no, that thing you are going to, as long as you are under my roof, you won't do that. So the woman goes back because she doesn't really have that God. She doesn't even understand who she is and what she carries. So a lot of cultural whatever is against these women, and then sometimes even religious. You go to our sisters in the north, the religious aspect comes to play. They also tell them they are meant, a lot of them are in the Buddha. They are not seen. Alaji's wife, what are you going to do in politics? So we have a long way to go, but we are doing it. We're trying to talk to our sisters. We're holding a lot of forums, a lot of symposiums, trying to let them know who they are. Because first, it is when you know who you are and what you carry. We are multitasked. We are multifaceted human beings. God wonderfully and fearfully made us. That's why you will see a woman in the home. She's in charge of a lot, including the man. The man is a baby to her.
Trust, you're right. I wouldn't say, my wife is watching, so I should be careful what I say, so I get to eat tonight. But basically, there should be some political reforms made to help women grow in politics and to take over in politics. Do you have any suggestion for reforms that could help women? Or are there any reforms that you've seen that you've admired so far that would help women, stimulate them to get into the world of politics and take over?
Yes, there are so many, even in Delta, so many is happening. Women, we have women like minds, women of like minds who are meeting and all of that. There's a platform where the executive assistant on the governor on medium, small, and what's that ministry again? Exports, yes, and exports. Yes, Chief Shimite Love. There's a platform we all are. And we are like minds. We have the elderly ones and even the young ones, where the elderly ones are grooming and mentoring the younger ones, you know, and letting them know the need to come out, the need to know who you are and what you stand for, you know. So a lot of that is going on. Even the Commissioner for Women Affairs, she has another group. She's, you know, getting women together and all of that. So we know that we're going to, and then most of these forums or platforms, we sometimes have symposiums and forums and which we bring in, you know, experts, women who have done well. Some are in the banking industries, of course. In the better part of last year, you saw how women were rising to the hierarchies of so many banks.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
handing over monies in, you know, financial institutions to women.
Or better managers.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay,
I'm not debating that. Like I said, my wife was.
Your wife manages you.
Totally. No debate. I don't want to go into that. Okay.
Yes.
But let me just do this question first. Basically, I'm so sorry. You mentioned something earlier on, and I don't know how to, you know, overlook that. You said we've agreed that some women who want to go into politics, they have the capacity, they have what it takes, and I know women have what it takes. You're looking at one of them right here, and even at home, she's out there too. But their husbands would stop them. Now, if a woman in such a situation, what should she do? Nigeria needs her, Delta needs her, our community needs her. We need her to survive. But her husband sits at home with all the balls in the world and says, you can't go there because if you go there, you'll probably go there to share your favors to people. What advice would you give to such a lady right now?
Well, they will also tell us, they'll bring, at that point, they will want to bring in the biblical verse that says, be submissive. So she's meant to be submissive to her husband. But I will tell my sister, when you get married, though men are difficult to really understand, you know.
We like to be in power.
Yes, you like to be in power, and once you speak it, you want it stamped and you want the woman. But I will tell her to keep engaging. Is your husband. Know the best times, you know, to speak with him. Keep engaging. The more you engage and all of that, and try to be good, try to be the best of wife and all of that. And then if he has, of course, he has some friends, he has some, you know, best friends, some quality friends or family that you know he listens to. You can also keep engaging those people to talk to them, you know, and then reason with you. Because for me, it's not nice and fair on the woman.
On the society.
Yes, the society.
Yes.
Because, like, for one, I have left Oshimele North as a legislator, but I'm still a part of the government because of what I, you know, did while I was there. What the things I helped the local government achieve. So till tomorrow, my chairman always still calls me back for something, and in his words he will say, Delta State has not, they don't know that they've not tapped a lot. We still have a lot in you that we're yet to tap on. You know, so that is a man.
Encouraging.
That is a man encouraging. So you keep having this, it will come, but you just would, you know, continue to engage. And I will beg our men, our daddies, please don't be a joy killer. Don't be a destiny killer. That woman was molded with her destiny. She has her destiny. Oh, the only thing you can do as a partner, and as a wonderful partner at that, is believing in your partner and encouraging her. Same thing goes for the woman. If your husband has a dream and believes in something, the much you can do, not nagging, not derogating that person, is to encourage that person, believe in that person, encourage and share ideas.
Okay, what would be your words to women now? You've spoken to the men, you've spoken to leaders. What would be your advice to the women? And how important is education in a woman's life, or a woman who is aspiring to go into politics? How important is education to that woman?
Very, 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 there's anything higher than very, is what I would say. It's very important. Because I'm here before you this morning. If I wasn't educated, I'm sure this discussion, I may not be coherent. I may not flow. my English may not even work, even though I know I don't speak the English so much. You know, I'm not perfect, but education has given me that. And education also exposes you. You have that confidence. You believe in yourself. You have you know, you have the guts. So I also frown on parents who kick against the education of the girl child. The word says train a woman and you train a nation. The girl child, if Okonjo Iweala was not trained, World Trade Bank will not be looking for her. She goes this way, they are looking for her. She goes that way, they are looking for her. If she wasn't trained, if she wasn't educated, Obieze Kwesili will not be out there doing what she knows how best to do if she wasn't trained. You see, it's not to say that some will say, but in politics, the minimal qualification is this. But the truth is, I challenge them. Look critically. Put everybody who are there. Look critically into them. Watch them when they talk. Watch their demeanor. There is always a difference between you can fish them out. Yes. The one that is educated and the one that is not. Timidity plays. You know, timidity is there. Inferiority complex plays. Lack of exposure plays. So, but when you see one who has gone to school, not just getting into school and getting out, the school passes through you. You pass through school, the school didn't pass through you. They are two different things. When you see the one that went to school and school passed through that person, you will know. It's not about going to go buy the certificate. You will know. So training the girl child is very key because they get to that highest of it. And they come back to remember you, their fathers. We are going down, we are going away from that era where they say, oh, it is the men, it's betraying the women are the ones who look after their parents, including their dad. Mostly their dad. Yes. The girl wakes up wherever she is, all over the world. Before she eats, she calls her dad to know if daddy has eaten. Okay. If daddy hasn't eaten, she's worried.
All right, let's not talk about appointments in Nigeria. We have only 8 female ministers out of 45. Do you think the present administration is doing enough in putting women in leadership positions? And what should women do? We have this 35% affirmative action target. They will soon slap you with that topic. But still, we don't meet that target at all. With 8 female ministers out of 45, it's just 17.8% we've been able to meet. Don't forget the National Assembly. Should we come together? Should we form a political party? What should women do now that the federal government, even down to the state level, they've refused to give women 35% of the leadership position in the country? What should honestly, my sister, is amazing. It's how's that word? For me, it's still worrisome. That's the word. Thank you. Because I keep wondering, 100%, you have 65, which is still a very huge number. We are saying 35, and my brothers are G3, they are freighty. 35%. It's not too much of a asking. So I don't really know why they are doing that. Is it that you think when we have the 35, we are going to upturn, we are going to overturn, we are going to overtake you? No. We still respect you as our leaders, as our head. Because from the family setting, African family setting, you are the head. We're not contesting it. But we need you to understand that without this body moving, I'm sure you know this head will not move. Yes, sure. So you need the body to be able to move. We are saying, please, just give us, we're not taking your role. Keep it, but give us 35 so that we will be able to support you. From creation, God made us as your helpmate. We want to remain to be the helpmate. If you look at the National Assembly, how many women are there? Same thing. But they will prefer to have
with all due respect to the men, prefer to have men who cannot even write their names. Some of them, their PAs, do all those write-ups and all of that. Or you have women who are capable and they don't want to. So, but I will beg my sisters, like I said, for the ones who are educated, who are exposed, because some of them do not also understand that politics, they see politics from a different perspective. Oh, it's not a game, it's not a profession, it's not a game for the women, it's for the men, it's for the men. When they talk about, oh, they'll tell you they hold meetings late in the night and all of that. Every profession has its peculiarity. Every profession has its peculiarity. Politics, you talk serious business. And so sometimes the essence of maybe late night meetings is so they don't even have distortions. People don't filtrate the meeting. We are able to be sane and we talk. Discussions, even in your homes, they will tell you as husband and wife, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you have conversations. That time is when the conversation really goes into each other very well. So that is my explanation for the late night meetings that politicians do. Right. So I don't want my sisters
That's not even justification, because if you say women should not participate, why then do you call on them to come out to vote for you? If we cannot participate,
not just voting, my sister.
To mobilize.
Do you see campaign grounds?
Exactly.
When you look at when campaigns are on, the women tell women now get to Cenotaph. We're meeting at Cenotaph tomorrow morning by 6:30. My sisters from Warri and South and Central, they are already in Asaba, and you begin to wonder, did these women sleep at all in their homes? But they will take care of their homes, keep the food for the children. And 6:37, they are already here, even before the ones who live in Asaba. The women are massive. We mobilize a lot. But when it now comes, and even on election day, we are on ground. We stay there in the field and ensure that the votes are counted before we leave. But when it is now time for appointment, that's when they will remember that we are women. But when we were moving everywhere, nobody remembers.
I also add that if husbands could go for meetings late at night and their wives have to understand, I think the husband should understand.
Why would you not understand your wife?
Can go for meetings too, and they should understand as well.
That is for also the betterment of the family.
What is good for Guinea is good for Uganda.
Yes.
Put it that way. It's all right.
Because you see, we are talking about Okonjo. Have you ever heard of her husband? I don't even know the name of the man.
He's also a very educated man.
Yes.
A doctor too.
Yes.
He's just taking his time.
But he supports his wife.
Okay, that's perfect. We're about to let you go. Looks like up to the 5 minutes has exceeded, and we're having a very great conversation because we're invested in this conversation. But before we say goodbye to you, talk to a young girl out there. First, what are those qualities she should see in herself to know that and fit to become a politician and a leader? And then, what's your advice to this lady at the same time? Just very shortly.
You see, I will always use myself as an example. Like, once while I was in office, I had meetings with my young girls in my constituency, and I admonished them and told them, you don't need to go far. Look at me. Use me as your role model. I'm your sister. I'm a girl child. First, I told them I'm grateful to my parents for educating me. And you see, that's again where the parents have to play. Your child believes in something, or your child says, this is who I am and this is what I want to be. And you keep, putting your own idea in that child. No, you will not read this course. This is the one I want you to read. As I was growing, I had the determination, I want to be a lawyer. And my father believed in me, and then my parents supported me. It wasn't easy for me to get into university. I had to write JAMB severally because I wasn't meeting up the cutoff point. But I believed in my vision, and my parents supported me, and I kept on going. So I told these young girls, if I wasn't educated, I won't stand before you. I won't represent you as your representative, So use me. I'm not saying you should be, it's compulsory you be a politician. But first, have the certificates. Some of them just came out of secondary school and they look around. And in the era of Yahoo boys, everybody want to you want to carry all those things,
iPhone.
iPhone Pro, whatever, you know, is the order of the day. You get into most hotels in town if you have reason to be there. In the mornings, come to the restaurant, you see girls who are not even, you know, clean. They everywhere stinks. They are still young because of the quest for money. They stray. So my advice to them is, forget these things. These things are temporal. They will come and go. It's a phase. They will come and go. And when they go, you will cry because you don't have what it takes to get a job, good job for yourself, to even think of coming into the politics. If you are not educated and you don't know your onions, even when you delve to come into politics, you will be used because you don't have, you know, all it takes. You don't know who you are. Because you don't know who you are, that complex plays. And so when they push you here, you go. They push you there, you go. So I will advise my young girls, please be focused. Believe in yourself. Believe that God made you a woman. He didn't make a mistake. He knew what he deposited in you when he made you. He could have chosen to make you a man, but he made you a woman. So he knew who you are, and he knew the plans he has for you. I will only but ask them and plead with them, follow God's way, God's, you know, vision for you, God's model for you, and see who you become in the future.
Thank you so much. Beautiful conversation. I want to appeal to the Bill folks out there that Angela Merkel was the Chancellor of Germany from the year 2005 to 2021. And the year 2021, another man took over, Olaf Scholz, said he's still the Chancellor. Look, it's still going to get to you, even if it gets to a woman. The most important thing is that that country grows, that state blossoms, and the people live happily ever after. Thank you so much for doing conversation with us on the program Morning Right. We have been talking to Honorable Dr. Stella Maris Mejulu, member, Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conservators. Thank you so much. She had several positions. Happy New Year to you, and I wish women the greatest the year 2025.
Thank you.
And on that very high note, we sum up Morning Right. That's morning from Blessing Osiabada, woman leader.
Thank you so much for joining us on Wednesday's edition of Morning Right. Let's keep believing in the power of women to drive meaningful development in our society. Have a great day. I am Blessing Osiabada.
People often say, listen to the man. In this case, I say, listen to the women. I've got this one right. That's all the Morning Right. I say goodbye. My name is Francis Ofulue. Good morning and happy 2025. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You see, maintaining peace and